Let's start off with the first topic regarding our favourite South Korean, Heung-min Son. Obviously, with the season that he had last season, everyone was saying, oh, well, maybe it's time to sell him. Is Son past his sell-by date? Blah, blah, blah. Brains, is Sonny back to his best now?
I mean, it's hard to say what his best is, but if you just watch, Spurs put up the 50 goals in 50 seconds today. If you just watch some of those finishes, man, he is world-class, isn't he? Like, both feet, anywhere in the box. He can do the simple stuff, but have you ever seen anyone who can bend the ball into the corner from 18 yards as consistently as him? He's incredible at it. You know what I mean? So I don't know, like, can you imagine Sonny with his finishing like this? His percentage must be ridiculously high. Can you imagine him like this, but just free of all injury? An actual fit Sonny. That would be top goal scorer. That would be something to behold.
But it's mad, right? Like he's still playing with an injury now, with his groin injury. You're seeing him in pain, invisible pain, pretty much every single game at the moment. You saw it in South Korea. And he's only 2 goals behind Erling Haaland, which smashed the goal scoring record last year. I mean, does that just tell you how good this guy is?
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? I don't know if that was for Ash, but I'm just going to say it's crazy. Ash is a little sick, so I'll just take that one.
Okay, I was like, I was holding back, but I call him Heung-min father, Heung-min daddy, Hung low, because right now he's the big bad boss. He's bossing
Hung like Sung.
Hung like Sonny. Hey, Sonny. Yeah, like literally, he's only been playing the striker role for how many games? And he's already remembered how to adapt back to how many years ago when he took over that mantle when Kane went missing. So just give him a few more games and see what else he could produce, because everyone was saying he can't do low block, he can't hold up the ball, and guess what? He's doing all of those. Against Fulham, when they tried to do mid to low block, he was doing that. Even when Arsenal had about 3 or 4 players inside the box, he just scuttled across that 6-yard box and finished off that goal that Maddison provided. So for me, he's answering all his critics. As Brains has already said, left foot, right foot, one of the best finishers in the game. What more can I say? Like, he's only going to get better, in my opinion. And he's like fine wine. As he gets older, his intelligence improves. He's starting to be a bit more cunning with his runs as well. He's not just being a one-trick pony where he finishes a certain way. He actually takes his time. I remember that Burnley goal when he kind of slows it down, and then that first goal where he kind of chips the keeper. I said, yeah, this guy's different gravy. He's different sauce. He's wonton sauce even. You know what I'm saying? Like the goals that he scored when he was doing outside the box, it started to come back again. So for me, that's very exciting, because last season we didn't see that as much. But I think if he can bring that back where he shoots outside the box, then again, that's another element, because how can you defend a shot from outside the box? How can you do it?
There's also been improvement though, because that game the other night, I thought all of his like one touches were brilliant. Around the corner, one touches, super hard to defend. And I think that's like sometimes like Kane used to get crowded out in the center. You just put 2 men on him, shut down the angles. But I feel like with Sonny, he's adapted this lovely touches around the corner. Like every one of his one touches the other night came off perfectly. We just didn't have people to react as quick, but they were perfect. And I actually even think Maddison's move, I think Maddison should have continued his run past him, because Sonny might have just done a little nudge to the side and Maddison would have been in. So I think there's parts of his game, as he'll get older, he'll adapt. So that you can already see adaptation, to that middle role getting a little bit better. Because remember, he used to never be that great with his back to goal. That was never his game. But now he's actually been an incredible link player. So I didn't expect that either.
Yeah, and you talked about asthmatic low blocks, right? And that goal against Arsenal, it's like one thing doing it against a Burnley defence or like a Luton defence or whatever. But that goal against Arsenal, he had Declan Rice, William Saliba, and Gabriel all around him, and like he just found
Sonny's
that little
a lot of
inch
them.
of space, and boom, into the bottom corner. But Sim, we spoke about this yesterday in terms of what elite players do, and what they do is they adapt throughout their career as they get older. Are we starting to see that properly from Sonny now?
100%. I think he's definitely starting to adjust his game with age, and I think we're seeing a different kind of Son at this stage of his career. But it doesn't mean he's any worse. It's just different, and it's really great to see. And I think I completely agree.
Is it better?
Is it better? Well, we'll have to wait and see how the season goes. But at the moment, you know, in terms of goal scoring wise, I know he got the Golden Boot a couple of years ago, but there's no reason why he can't get a similar tally this season, or even more potentially, considering he's going to be playing up front the whole season.
Surely he's on track for more this year than
He
was
must
in that
be.
year.
7 goals in 9 games. So he's on track for what? Over 30 at this point, which is incredible to think, but we'll have to wait and see. But I completely agree with what Brains was saying when it comes to Sonny. One of my biggest frustrations with Son during his time at Spurs is a lot of the times when the ball's been fizzed into him, his touch has been a bit loose. He fails to control the ball in tight situations. His link-up play, his passing has been a bit off at times when he's been throughout his Spurs career. Really, he hasn't really been a player who's he's good at creating chances, but he's not been a player who's been very good at linking the play in tight spaces with his teammates, passing and moving. He's very much a player who likes space. He likes to play in big spaces, especially when he's running in behind. He was probably in throughout Spurs' career one of the best players in the league at attacking space. That's probably one of his biggest strengths. But what he's really adapted his game, and maybe it's a few things. Maybe it's him being the number 9 striker, where he's been forced to bring different elements to his game. Maybe it's also being captain, where he feels a bit more responsibility to bring other players into play as well and be more of a team player. I think all these things probably are coming together, and now we're seeing him, and Brain's absolutely right that some of his one little layoffs, his one touch passing has been fantastic, and we even saw it in his little cameos at the beginning of the season when Richarlison would go off and would move Sonny central. Like for example the goal against against Bournemouth, Kulusevski's goal. Son moves into centre and he plays a lovely little dink into Udogie, who sets up Kulusevski. Like, he's been adapting, showing this part of his game a lot more this season, and that was really the only thing for me holding him back from being a very good striker. Was I had a lot of doubts about if he wasn't getting in behind and scoring and getting shots off, would he be a bit anonymous? Would he be getting involved in the general play, or would he be a bit of a frustrating figure? But he's showing a different side to his game, and he's bringing other players into play. And not only is he doing it, he's doing it with quality. He's actually doing it really well. He's actually finding his man. And that was one of the things with Richarlison. I was very critical of Richarlison at the beginning of the season. When the ball was being fizzed into him, it will bounce off him and he wouldn't be able to find a teammate. And more often than not, he'd lose the ball. But Son is showing he's capable of doing that. Now, obviously, there are different elements that we're still not sure he's capable of. Like, if a cross comes in the box, is he going to be able to win a header? Is he going to be able to physically combat with defenders in a low block? Those are still question marks, but that's not his game. He's playing to his strengths. He's coming a bit shorter. He's trying to create a bit of distance between him and some of the centre-backs. And if it means he's on the edge of the box taking a shot, that's where he's going to be strongest. And when he is getting moments in the box, he's being clever. He's trying one-touch finishes. He's trying to get things quick. He's being a lot smarter. And what he's proving as well is he's not just pace. He's a lot of people saying once Son loses pace, is he going to be less effective? Now, I'm not saying he's lost his pace, but he's not as, maybe he can't use his pace as often as maybe he did, a few years ago. He has to kind of pick his moments in a way to go full pelt, I feel, at the moment. But he's doing it in a lot smarter way, and he's clearly a lot more than pace. He's so two-footed. We've known that for a long time. Technically, he's even improving, but he's so great technically. And he's one thing that goes so under the radar is not just how good he is at finishing, but the range of finishes he has. Because he's so two-footed and ambidextrous, he can take any angle from any part of the penalty area and probably get a good effort on goal. And that makes him so difficult to deal with. And that's why we're seeing such great stuff from him in the central striking position, I feel, because any angle and any foot, he can get a good shot on goal on.
Yeah, and he's a player that keeps adding new bows to his armory as well. And that's what, like I said before, what elite players keep doing. They keep improving and they keep finding different ways to adapt to maybe what other situations are thrown at them. But there's a question here on the chat from Southview COYS TV. I'm sure it's your better half, Ashmatic. And he says, question though, looking forward, is Son the answer? Don't we need to find his replacement now? What do you think about that, Ash?
It's a valid question because he is 31, be 32.
Ash, it's valid, but Molly Miles spent one night with Josh, and look at the negativity. Right? Unbelievable.
No, but it's like, is Spurs, is Sonny going to be a stopgap for what we need right now? I think he's got at least another 2-3 seasons in him, in my opinion. However, it is a valid question because the older you get, that like we're a team where we're looking for younger strikers. We're looking for strikers that are like 25, 26. We don't want a striker that's going to be 32 this season. Do you know what I'm saying? And then like in the next couple of seasons, we've got old man Son. How long can we keep him? How long can we keep him fit? How long can we keep him sharp? It's something that we have to look at, honestly. So
he needs an understudy, essentially. He needs a perfect understudy. He needs someone who can. But then that's why it's like. And it's not Scarlett, and it's not. I mean, it might be other players, you know. But
is it not why we brought Valise? Is this not the reason why we bought Valise?
I think we need to see Valise, and I think bringing them on with 10 minutes to go sometimes is a little bit like where you take all the other good players off, and then there's no service. Like, I mean. I couldn't believe Lo Celso didn't put him in. He was screaming, he was pointing, he was doing everything right, and Lo Celso waited, and he put a cue ball. It was like, how dare you? Like, this kid, this is his moment. And that's the levels. It's like, so bring them on when there's actually some good players on the pitch, some creative players who can make things happen. So I feel like he's a bit unlucky, but I do think you need like a Son-like player who can be his understudy and just learn off him and do everything he does. Who's not going to come in going, I need to play now. Who's just going to like watch Sonny and then play like him. You know, like I think there is players out there, but I think we might even have it in academy. But I think Son's good for the next. However long his groin lasts.
Yeah, for you look at players like Jamie Vardy. He was like scoring Premier League goals up until he was like 34, 35, and this is a guy who probably drinks Skittles vodka every weekend and doesn't really take care of himself as well as someone like Sonny does. Like Sonny like is a consummate professional who takes very good care of himself. So based on that, like. If Vardy can go up until he's 34 scoring 15, 20 Premier League goals, why can't Sonny go longer?
It's just the problem on like how. So look at the situation we're in. Is like Sonny must start every single game. We all go nuts if South Korea, his nation, plays him. Like that's their job. He's got to play. Like he's the biggest Asian star in the world. He's gonna play. We cannot say, "Oh, we're Spurs. He must play for." It's like forget that. He will die on the pitch for them before he'll die on the pitch for us. We have to understand how the South Korean people are. And so, like, we have to respect that as well. But the situation is, he is going to kill himself on the field. Like, he's going to play. He won't be completely honest about when he's feeling things. He just won't, because he loves playing and he's too much of that guy. He's the captain. So this is the situation we're in. He's going to do it to himself because there isn't the med team, there isn't the structure there that are allowing, or there isn't the players to come in that the manager can be confident on. You can see, like Ange won't ever diss players, but you can kind of read between the lines, and you can see that 80 minutes and Brian Hill, who's been doing well in training, doesn't get any minutes. You can see he just doesn't rate that guy. It's like, you get a go.
Yeah, academy, because obviously Big Ange is known for his academies and the youngsters.
Yeah.
You think like someone like Donnelly has any say in a current situation where he could be maybe Son's understudy?
Yeah.
Other young strikers coming through the academy.
There's a few of them, Ash. There's Will Lancashire as well, who's doing really well. Santiago, who's playing on the wing. I mean, there's so many of them coming through the ranks at the moment.
Bell as well.
Sunsot Bell, yeah. And you've got also the players out on loan. Dane Scarlett, Troy Parrott, who's scoring goals for fun at the moment in Holland. I don't know what's going to happen with him. I wouldn't put it past him coming back and making an impact. But I mean, I don't know if his ship sailed or not. But I think Alejo Valise is it. Valise looks like he's got something about him. He really does. And I really want to see more of him. And I think that he should be the one that should be learning off Sonny consistently, week in, week out. He's there with him. He seems to be like kind of accepted as the backup now by Ange Postecoglou. He's getting minutes at the end of games. Not like Brian Hill. So why not? I don't think that we need to sign a striker to replace Son. I would rather put my faith in the players coming through the youth academy and someone like Alejo Valise.
Especially if late in the game you're going to go long and you're going to put balls in the box, right? Like if it's like if you're 1-0 up and you're just trying to like get the ball down the field, hold it in the corners, or just going from the box, or 1-1 or whatever, then you kind of need you. That's where you should have had Richarlison to be that header guy in the box. But Valise looks like he's a little bit even more aggressive when he goes up. He's strong on the shoulder. I think he's got a bit about him as a striker. From what
he looks so physical as well, doesn't he? For a 19-year-old kid, I think he looks really good.
Here's a question for you guys. Considering that Son, since he's moved to central striker, he started 6 games and scored 7 goals in central striker. Is it ridiculous to think that he could seriously challenge Haaland for the Golden Boot this season?
You know what it is. You know what it is. I was about to sneeze. That's why I didn't answer. I thought you were
just in total shock of the question.
It's been buzzing around for a while now because he's so clinical. Like ratio-wise, I think statistically, I think he's almost on par with Haaland in terms of minutes per game or non-penalty goals. Because Son's not really had any penalties to take. If you really deep, you know what I'm saying. So from open play, Son is quite clinical. The amount of chances that he has compared to what he converts is quite high. So, you know, it's an argument worth having. It's a discussion worth having. Now, lots of people be like, how dare you? Haaland's going to break the record. He almost got 40 goals last season. He's probably going to get 40 goals this season. Second season's going to be even better. But I think creativity-wise, if our wingers can improve their quality or service into Son, I think that we can do a lot of damage, and I think Son can get close to Haaland. I don't know if he can do Haaland numbers. I think he can get 25 to 30 goals easily, because if you look at what happened in Ange's Celtic with their striker, how many goals he scored, I think Son's playing in a similar system, and why can't he? You know, he's better players around him. Like, why can't he score? Because he's doing a lot of runs, and I think we haven't mentioned Son's pressing. I've been impressed with Son's pressing. He's always pressed quite well, to be fair, but people said, he's lost his pace. But when he presses like a maniac. He runs his heart out for the teams, and I always call him the sacrificial lamb, because the amount of runs he does for the team, where the ball doesn't always go for him, kind of opens up the pitch and helps create chances for others, because he's just there running non-stop, and sometimes not just running forwards, but when he runs back to collect the ball and receive the ball back to goal, like you said, Sim, and like you said, Brains, he's improved in that a lot more. I saw at Fulham, they stung a ball into him, but it stuck to him like, I was like, whoa, Son, like, are you Spider-Man in disguise? Because the way he's hung onto that ball, it was crazy. So yeah,
he's been taking too many lessons off Tom Holland. That's what it is. All that time spent together. That's what it is.
Literally.
But I think it's the style of play as well. I think the style of play makes you think, if we can keep playing it. There's been, you know, like in the Fulham game, we played it for 25 minutes and then it kind of went to shit. I'm starting to see a little. That's the thing for me, is like, can we consistently keep playing Ange ball? Because it's already started 9 games in. It's already started to be in shades, but then we're showing other sides. We're showing great determination of like going right to the end, and you know, that's great. We don't want that though. We actually want to get the 2 tap-ins for Richarlison in 3 minutes at the start of the game. We want the game won after 10 minutes. Like, and we've had these opportunities in games, and this is the big thing about, you need Sonny, but you need people, because the back posts a lot of the time won't be Sonny's, you know, but you need people who can finish as well, you know, and also Sonny, the amount of times the other night, like Sonny, you could see he was making the run to the back. He was making a diagonal run going that way, and the ball just wouldn't come in. You know, too many touches, on the left or right. I can understand from Kulu, he doesn't whip it in straight away because he doesn't use the right foot to go across, and when he does, he hits it short. And on the other side, Richarlison takes too many touches on it. It's like, so that thing about, like the Pedro Porro ball, where he put perfectly over in Sonny's right, that's Sonny's type of goal. And he would score it so much more if the guys on the side would just put the ball at the right time across, so it's things like that. Is can we get the style of play working? I think a lot of the things that are happening now with our front foot Ange ball, which I never expected we should have seen it at Celtic because he did it a lot, is the high press, winning the balls. How many times have we scored goals this season now from high press, push them into a corner, show them the line, Udoji or someone makes a block? The other night it was 2 blocks from Højbjerg, boom, ball goes in, goal. So that high press, squashing them into a triangle they can't get out of, that's, especially against anyone from 10 down, you're going to score goals all the time like that because they're just not, they don't train on how to escape that way. And then in the top half, everyone's trying to play out the back. Everyone's trying to do kind of Ange ball without having a player like Basuma who's pressure resistant. And they're getting caught, and they're getting caught, and they're getting caught. So I think Ange ball's quite ahead of the game. And I think that's where you're going to get, then you need someone like Sonny who can just turn, boom, bend the ball in the corner. So if we keep playing like that, but I think it's like, take the chances when they're there, and have, that's why I'd so much rather just have maybe even Kulu on the left, Johnson on the right, switch them over, just find out whatever recipe makes crosses and slides into the ball faster, because this thing about, Andrew was saying, we don't stop, and then the training of like, move the ball fast, starting to see and maybe that's because Basuma wasn't there, and, but the other night, the ball was slow being moved. That second half, the ball was moving so slow, and I could see, you almost feel Andrew's frustration of like, oh, why are they slowing down? Why are they going back?
It's because it's so early on as well, Brains, as well. We're only 9
he needs
games
to get that into them,
I think with time, the quickness will come. And if that does come, then someone will create or have more chances to finish off. And then the more frequency he has to finish chances off like that, then I think, what it is for me? I just think on the left-hand side, it's a major issue right now. We need someone on the left to supply Sonny. Like the right-hand side, I feel like we need more goals, because what's the point of having 3 forwards if you're only going to have Son scoring the goals or Maddison? You don't want just players that are going to get you out of jail every time. Like a lot of teams are starting to clock on, stop Maddison, stop Son, then you're going to stop Tottenham. But that can't be the case. I feel like we need more firepower or more impotence from our front 3. So we can't rely on Son or Maddison from being our creative hub or scoring our goals. We just need an out-and-out threat on the left and an out-and-out threat on the right, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So we've basically just swapped the reliance from Kane to Maddison, and we just need places coming from all different areas.